My name is Don Hancock. Our topic for today is wraparound financing. It's an exotic name, but at its heart, it's a pretty simple transaction. Today, I want to talk to you very briefly about the basics of wraparound financing. Let's start with some terminology. Mortgages are ranked and referred to by their priority. By that, I mean a first mortgage is the senior mortgage on a piece of property. A second mortgage is second in line. A third mortgage is third in line. Fourth is fourth in line, and so on. A wraparound mortgage is by definition a secondary mortgage. It's behind at least one existing loan. A first loan, perhaps a first and a second, but it's a secondary mortgage. So it's really just a second lien. It's a second lien on steroids. It has some special terms, but at its heart, it is a second lien. In a wraparound transaction, the buyer of the property gives the seller a mortgage. Remember, it's a secondary mortgage. It fits around or wraps around the seller's existing financing, hence the name, wraparound financing. The buyer does not assume any responsibility for payment of any of the prior liens. The buyer's responsibility is to pay the wraparound mortgage, nothing else. The seller remains liable to continue to pay all existing mortgages that are in place at the time the wraparound financing is executed. So in its simplest form, a wraparound mortgage is a second mortgage given by a buyer back to the seller, wrapping around existing mortgages. The seller pays the existing mortgages, the buyer pays the wraparound mortgage. The complicating factor arises because 99% of existing mortgages, certainly existing residential mortgages, have what is called a due on sale provision in the mortgage. Due on sale provision is a provision which basically states if the owner of that property sells the property without the consent of the existing lender, then the existing lender has the right to call the existing loan due. If the existing lender calls the loan due and the seller is unable to pay the loan, then the existing lender can foreclose. If the existing lender forecloses, that foreclosure will wipe out all property interests that are inferior to that first mortgage. That's going to be the property interest of the seller in the property and the property interest of the buyer. So if the prior mortgage, the existing mortgages are foreclosed, buyer and seller are going to lose their interest in the property. And that is what creates the additional level of risk in a wraparound transaction. You can find additional information on this topic and on similar topics at our website, www.hancockmcgill.com.